Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the ODPP Café. I want to start by apologizing for transmitting late. We had some tech issues that have now been sorted. Thank you very much for being patient, and thank you very much for joining us from wherever you are. Please let us know where you're watching us from. Join us on Facebook, here on Facebook Live. You can share the link with your friends to also join us in the conversation. You can also follow us on Twitter at ODPP_KE. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel, the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution. Please subscribe and follow us and get to learn and understand how the criminal justice system works. Remember, this show is about educating, informing, and having just a discourse on how the criminal justice system works and to help us understand how to apply the various, how the laws apply to our everyday life, how we operate on our everyday, how we do it every day. So as usual, I want to start with a quick sneak into the courts. And of course, today I'm going to start with what has happened at the ODPP. It was a very exciting week for us. The ODPP launched the Excellence Charter, which is a strategic plan that is eventual to steer the office into a 21st century prosecution service. So it's quite a journey, and it's meant to be responsive to the public. The Excellence Charter has some strategic commitments that we're going to discuss today in the show. The event was graced by the Interior CS, Dr. Fred Matiang'i, the President of the Court of Appeal, the IG of Police, Hilary Mutyambai, the Law Society of Kenya President, Nelson Harvey, and other representatives, other development partners. It was quite an exciting launch for us, and we're going to discuss exactly what took place during the launch. So join us as we discuss this later in the show. The next thing we have is a court case that is ongoing. Britton was charged with fraud. He was charged with fraudulently trying to sell goods that are already mortgaged. He was conspiring to defraud a Citibank of over 700 million. So the prosecution submitted their case against Javesh Kumar, a director of Midland Hauliers Limited. He was charged with trying to defraud this bank, not named yet, and he was with others that they were trying to transfer 2 motor vehicles from Midland Hauliers to Super Hiker Limited without the authority of the administrator. He also faced other charges of performing a management function in a company under administration without the consent of the administrator, and failure to submit a statement of company affairs to the appointed administrator. Mr. Kumar was freed on a 2 million bond and ordered to deposit his passport in court. Remember, we discussed this when we talked about bail and bond. Sometimes because of dual nationalities, someone may be asked to deposit their passport in court so that they don't leave the country while their case is ongoing. A warrant of arrest was also issued against his co-accused Gaurav Kotecha for failing to appear in court to answer to the fraud charges. Remember, that is one of those things that can make someone get their bond or bail cancelled. The other case in court was about the Langata Women Prison, a senior officer at Langata Women Prison. I know you've seen this case on social media. She was charged with obtaining over 200 million from members of the public under the guise of securing employment for them. I know you've heard about such people who say they can get you into some positions after you pay them money. So this was a senior officer at Langata Women's Prison who was doing this with 5 others. They were charged with 72 counts of fraud. The prosecution submitted that on February 11th, Grace Nyamohanga, together with Masiaga Sylvester, they obtained 300,000 from Patrick Boke by pretending that they could secure him a job. They could secure for him a job at the Nairobi Metropolitan Services. I know you saw this, and we always fall prey to such stories, such stunts. You're asked to pay so that you get a job or an appointment. Senior Sergeant Jackson Murray, their prison officer, was also charged with obtaining 350,000 from Samuel Joroge by pretending he could secure a job for his 2 daughters at the Kenya National Highways Authority. Others in the case were Peter Ngere and Zachary Kimathi. They all denied the charges. Nyamohanga, Ngere, and Masiaga were released on a bail of 2 million with an alternative bond of 5 million each. The officers Muredi and Kimathi were released on a 500,000 or a bond of 2 million each. Again, we discussed this at length when we were discussing this, and we can definitely discuss this again. But maybe just a caution to be careful that nobody can secure you a job in that manner, where you pay and get a job. The other case that we had in court was about Korane. He was charged by his case about the 233 million graft case. The hearing against the Garissa governor was postponed after a witness was asked to stand down. The magistrate, Douglas Ogoti, stood down Victor Ogutu, the witness, because the defense did not have the files that they were supposed to be used. The prosecution, rather the defense did not have, just a minute, I just brushed that too fast. But this case has been in the courts for a while now, and we've discussed this at some point when we were talking about anti-corruption of these government officials. So Korane is charged with corruption with other county officials from his county. There are several counts, and the judge said that Victor should stand down until the defense was ready with the files that the prosecution has. So the case is ongoing, and it will continue again at a later date. The next case is about a man was ordered to forfeit over 43 million Kenya shillings to the state. This is one of those things that I think we have discussed a bit during the anti-corruption week, that we discussed the proceeds of crime, and he was asked to return to the state 43 million. Businessman Josephat Kamau was accused of smuggling 40 cartons of cigarettes valued at 9.7 million and has been ordered to forfeit 44 million to the state. So when giving the ruling, the High Court Judge James Wakiaga said the Asset Recovery Agency proved that the funds held in Kamau's bank account were proceeds of crime and that therefore should be returned to the state. Remember, the state can do this to you when they prove a case that whatever money you have was obtained fraudulently, like it has been done in this case, and you have to return that money to the state. So it's one of those strategies, and it's called follow the money or proceeds of crime. So 2 lorries belonging to Mr. Kamau were impounded, carrying 240 and 150 cartons of Supermatch cigarettes worth 9.7 million in October 2019. The driver was charged before an Eldoret court. So an analysis of these bank statements revealed suspicious transactions of 24.2 million, which coincided with border crossing of his 2 vehicles, which were modified to smuggle the goods from Uganda. So this guy must return 43 million to the state. So we'll just watch how that ends. The other case was about a man charged with 200 million land fraud. A Nairobi businessman was charged with conspiracy to defraud an investment company, I think so, MS Siesta Investment Limited, of 1.591 hectares of land along Mombasa Road worth 200 million. He was charged with making a false document claiming to be genuinely issued by the Ministry of Land and Physical Planning. So this was a fraud case against a land company. Somebody was trying to take away 200 million. He denied the charges and was released on a 200K cash bail or a 1 million bond. The prosecution has lined up 6 witnesses to testify in the case. So that is still ongoing. Then there's the case of the former KDF soldier, the one who was accused of murdering his family. His Major Peter Mugure, he was denied bail pending hearing and determination of his murder trial. The court agreed with the prosecution that Major Peter Mugure should continue staying as he awaits trial. He's accused of 3 counts of murder of Joyce Yombua, Shanice Mugure, and Peter Mwaura Jr. in 2019. He denied the charges, and the High Court declined the prayer of the accused to be allowed to self-represent himself and also to order release of his motor vehicle because it is an exhibit according to prosecution. So that is still ongoing, and clearly the court has said he cannot represent himself. That's a quick sneak as to what has been happening in the courts and, of course, at the ODPP. And for the ODPP, the most exciting thing was the launch of the Excellence Charter, which was graced by very high-ranking government officials and development partners. It was an auspicious occasion, so to speak, and that is what we are going to discuss today on the show. I have with me 2 guests who are experts in law. They are lawyers, I hope. I will confirm in a few when they introduce themselves and as we discuss the Excellence Charter. So, karibu to the show, and let's engage, let's learn, let's empower ourselves. Let's see how the ODPP works, and let's see how it benefits us as the common citizen. So I'll start with my guest. She's not new to the show, but for the sake of for the new people who are joining the show, kindly introduce yourself, madam.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
My name is Jacinta Nyamosi. I am Acting Deputy Director in charge of the Department of Conventional and Related crimes, which handles very conventional offenses, which include but not limited to homicide, sexual offenses, the fraud. Generally, those are the kind of offenses we deal with, but all offenses except economic crime.
Economic
offenses.
crimes, yeah. If you remember, Madam Nyamosi was here discussing SGBV. It was a very interesting discussion. And of course, we'll still do that because, like we said, it's not exhaustive. So thank you very much for coming to our show again. We are honored to have you here.
So we are most obliged.
So my next guest is new. And he's the one to confirm to me. I just said you're both lawyers. I'm not sure whether I'm correct. But please introduce yourself and tell us what you do at the ODPP.
Okay, thank you. My name is Dr. Hesbon Otinga. I'm an economist, a planner for that matter.
Yeah.
And I head the planning division of the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution.
So you're not a lawyer?
Yes, I'm an economist.
Oh, interesting. You know, we imagine everybody who works here is either a lawyer or... Yeah, so karibu to the show. Like you have me say, the show is about educating people, informing them, and just telling them how the ODPP works. And it's good you're not a lawyer, I'm not a lawyer. So Madam Nyamos here is the expert in law, and she definitely give us some clarification. So today we want to discuss the Excellence Charter, and of course, off the launch on Tuesday, 8th of June. And we want to just unpack it a little for the public to understand why it should be of interest to the public. And I'm glad you're here to explain that. I mean, prosecutors, you must know, Madam Nyamosi, have very great influence over how justice is served, yeah? And because you make the decision to charge or not, a lot of things in the criminal justice system depends on how you operate. So the Excellence Charter was launched on Tuesday. But before we get into it, we must first of all define it. Dr. Otinga, what is excellence in English?
Okay.
Oh, that's good. You're not a lawyer, so you define excellence.
Okay, basically, I would refer to the term excellence as simply exemplary performance, in my view. That is quality delivery of services. That is the basic definition of the term excellence.
Excellence.
Yes.
Madam Nyamosi, give it a try. The queens.
All right, I would just say it's quality of being outstanding. Just perfection. That
Perfection.
is it. Yeah.
Okay, so what is the Excellence Charter, Dr. Otinga?
Okay, basically, the Excellence Charter is simply a blueprint document or plan for the ODPP, which will help ODPP realize its 6 strategic commitments with a view, or it's geared towards the ODPP achieving its mandate, the core mandate as enshrined in Article 157 of the Constitution of delivery of quality prosecution services to all Kenyans. Yes.
But then there is a strategic plan. So how do these 2 documents differ, or are they the same? Are they synonymous?
Okay, maybe I would give a snapshot background of the entire process. For example, when this office was established in 2011, after the promulgation of the new constitution, it developed its first strategic plan, that is 2011 to 2015. After a lapse of that period, we then developed a strategic plan 2016 to 2021.
You participated in all that?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, so how did we come to the Excellence Charter? Remember, strategic plans are reviewed. We have what you call midterm reviews of strategic plans. So in the year 2019, the strategic plan 2016-2021 was due for review. And remember, this review is also informed by the fact that there is what you call globalization, changes in law, technological changes, and what you call predictability. Those are the aspects that actually necessitates the review of a strategic plan. This also coincided with the appointment of the current DPP, who has a new vision for the office. That's how all these things culminate in the Excellence Charter. Now, what happened with the strategic plan 2016-2011? Then we embarked in the process of reviewing that strategic plan. In the process of reviewing the strategic plan, the pending activities that had not been achieved were brought forward into the Excellence Charter. So in a layman perspective, I would simply tell the members of the public and the entire staff that the Excellence Charter is simply our strategic plan. The strategic plan 2016-2021 collapsed because we reviewed it, revised it, and brought on board all the activities that were pending into the Excellence Charter. So it is simply an ambitious plan, because you realize that it's a 3-year document, but the strategic plans in public institutions are done for 5 years. Yes, so that is the difference there.
So I'm still not getting, why just not continue calling it a strategic plan? Why are you calling it excellence?
Okay, the reason why we called it excellence is because it goes beyond the strategic plan. You know, in the strategic plan, the conventional strategic plan, when it's being formulated, we have what you call a strategic plan is formulated under the SWOT model, the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats.
Yeah.
But this excellence goes beyond. That's why it took into consideration the 3R approach. Those are some of the new visionary ideas from the DPP. So it goes beyond the SWOT model, where it is now formulating what are the challenges, what are the initiatives, and how can we go about it and realize that. So that's why it was coined Excellence Charter, because we don't want to do business as usual as ODPP.
So do you agree, Madam Nyamosi, that it should be called the Excellence Charter? Does it impact how you operate as a prosecutor?
Yes, it should be called the Excellence Charter. You see, we are now not looking at as a prosecutor as the old, we are not doing the things in the archaic way. We are now looking at new ways of doing things. If you look at the way we continue training our prosecutors and even other members of the office of the DPP, we are looking at things in a different approach. For instance, if like now in court, we don't have to look at presentation of evidence like we used to do. Now there are new challenges which have been brought in. COVID brought in the challenge of not having us in court all the time. So we have this hybrid kind of system where partially some evidence is presented in court, virtually some part of the quorum or part of the members of the court are not within the courtroom, but evidence will be tendered. How will you do that? We'll use the technology we have. So we have to learn, we have to teach ourselves that you don't have to, be in court to present evidence. So we get even witnesses, even presenting evidence through the
Virtually.
Yes, virtually. So these are some of the things. So I'm thinking, yes, it has to be done in a different way.
Excellence.
Yes.
Excellence. Excellence has an aspect of perfection. Does it give you pressure as a prosecutor? When now there's a launch,
Yes.
Excellence Charter, do you walk into the office thinking, oh my God, pressure, perfection, DOE? Do you feel that, or are you charged just to do things differently?
Initially when we thought of the excellence of being perfect, it scared us a bit. But now when you get into that platform, that arena, no, I was actually one of the people who feared how will we deal with this. Everything is new. There's a new approach to things. But I'm actually feeling that now I can actually blow the trumpet out there for the office of the DPP, that we can actually do things we are thinking outside the box. So for me, I think,
and especially for a government office, you're telling me, Wanjiko, to look at you with a different lens, a lens of excellence. Is that achievable?
It is achievable. And the reason why we are saying it's achievable, excellence is not something you're going to achieve in one day. And the commitment we have made is that we are going to strive to get there. So step by step, those small challenges that we encounter, or you will get stumbling blocks, people telling you it's not possible. We are moving out of that space. Yes, we got scared, but even us, we have said no. If people are doing it, even in other, you can see the other jurisdictions, people are doing it, why not us? And we have done it. It has been in practice. I can actually confirm that I think 7 days ago, we did a case, and I can actually boast that the team did it, and we virtually presented evidence. All parties were accepting what we did. So for me, yes.
Does it have the same feeling? You're not in a courtroom, you're doing this thing virtually. Does it have the same feeling?
Yes, I think I did. For me, I think for the prosecutor, we still felt that we are still in court, because we were actually in the court. Physically, we were in court. But everybody felt that we were in court, and the beauty is that the court, the magistrate asked everybody, how did you feel? We felt we were part of it. Why not? We are part of the court. So why not?
I've seen, sorry, I'm just doing this too much, but I've seen people making jokes about Zoom meetings.
Yes.
And how half the time you're trying to get to hear if someone can hear you. Can you hear me? Can you see me? Did you hear me? Oh, my internet has dropped. Do you get those things?
Yes, that initially we are still having those problems.
Yeah.
Because at one point we dropped off, the other parties dropped off, and for the court to be to have everybody on board, everybody must
Must be logged
must be
on.
logged on.
Yeah.
So we did encounter that, but I think we overcame, and we are moving.
It's a journey.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
a journey. I'm saying it's a journey. It's not something you will.
It's not a destination.
No. You will get there slowly.
Okay.
Yes.
So, Dr. Chinga, the charter outlines the 3 R's, and you've mentioned them: recasting, retooling, and relearning.
Yes.
What are these? And you said this is the new vision of the DPP. It's a vision by the DPP, right?
Yes.
So, what is it? What are these 3 R's?
Actually, the charter outlines the 3R approach. That is what you have rightly put it: recasting, retooling, and relearning. Now, what do we mean by recasting? Recasting is simply just enhancing our cooperation, collaboration, and coordination. It's about the 3 C's: cooperation, collaboration, and coordination. We have realized that as ODPP, we cannot achieve our mandate alone. We need other players on board. We need to link up with our external stakeholders particularly. So that's what it all means by recasting. Then under retooling is as an aspect of enhancing and growing the existing infrastructure. As I've indicated, the 21st century criminal justice system is so complicated. With globalization, with technology changes, we have read under retooling, we need to embrace technology more and more, and perhaps change our processes, review our processes. That's what retooling is all about: revamping, enhancing, and growing the existing infrastructure. Now, relearning is about education and culture change. You remember, or you realize that change is the only constant thing in life. So we need to have a total shift in our mindset, not to do things the normal way. So when you talk about relearning, therefore, the prosecutors or the staff have to be equipped, continuously be equipped, the requisite skills to be able to handle the 21st century crime. Yes, yes, that's the 3 R's.
Madam, I'm wondering, casting. That means you are collaborating. The 3 C's are what?
Yes, collaborating, cooperating, and coordination.
Yes. How does this work? I mean, because now you have, but you've done this before. You collaborate with other players in the system. You are doing, maybe you're working with other partners internationally. How does this impact how you work? Does it enhance how you do this? Because I know you said you don't deal with economic crimes or transnational crimes.
Yes.
Yeah. But then recasting. How does recasting actually apply in the everyday life of a prosecutor? How should it happen?
Truth be told, the prosecutor cannot work alone completely. You need the other stakeholders, like for instance, the police, the judiciary,
Yes.
the prisons, the children's department. That is the angle where we say that you can't work alone. So we'll need all these justice actors in order to implement or in order to even prosecute our cases. So that is it. Now, when we are talking of other partners, we are talking of our development partners.
Yes.
They have done so much. They are partnered with the Office of the DPP in training. Even when we are rolling out our policy documents, the decision to charge, the diversion and plea bargain. These are main tools which we as the prosecutors need. So they have come out in a very strong way. They have assisted us. And because of them, we've been even able to, reach out to each and every prosecutor in the country. And as you are aware, we have 47 counties and 9 regions. So the fact that we are working with other agencies, whether development partners or other stakeholders who are in the criminal justice system, that tells you that we can't work alone. We are not an island.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, and then relearning, of course. Do you ever get to a point where, because of the many years of service,
Yes.
you feel like, I know it all? Or
Yeah.
you still, as a prosecutor yourself, find yourself the need to still go back and equip yourself with other things that are going on in the world? And then there's also the aspect of PTI. How does the PTI come into this space, into this whole 3 R's thing? Where does it play?
OPTI is very critical, and a case in point, you can see the kind of trainings PTI has coordinated. For us, the fact that
sorry, for the sake of the person watching,
yes,
prosecution
Training Institute.
Sorry, yeah.
This is a first-class training institute, and in fact, I would invite quite a number of the viewers to even take a minute and know that we have an institute that that trains the prosecutors, and I think we are going to open up the space for other criminal justice agencies.
Maybe we should say it is a center of excellence.
It's a center of, actually it's a center of excellence. That's how we want to refer to it, and we are going to refer to it that way. So for us, the prosecutor must continue learning. I can never say that I know it all. Apparently, as late as last week, I realized that I don't know everything, and you cannot know everything. And the beauty is that you learn even from our young prosecutors, the ones who have joined. We realize there are things which they bring on board, and you have to listen. So if you don't listen, then you lose it. So for me, you have to keep on learning something new, and especially when it comes to the legal arena, there's something new. There's always something new. So yes, we have to keep on learning.
I find it quite interesting that it actually keeps moving and new things keep coming up.
Yes.
I always thought law was very rigid. Like ukishasoma umetoka UN umeenda kufanya Kenya School of Law. That's it.
Yes.
But now you're saying there's more.
Actually, what I think I knew yesterday, I might look into our social platform, our ODPP, and find that somebody has something new, and I go quickly read, and then I also, engage. So it's a learning process, and we are grateful that the PTI has really given us the platform to continuously update ourselves with the most current jurisprudence that there needs to be learned.
Maybe just to add at the issue of the prosecutor training, it is one of our key flagship projects as an office. And the one may ask, why do you not go to get trained in the Kenya School of Government? The DPP, in his vision, he said, this PTI is an institute that has programs specifically tailored for the prosecutor.
Good.
Yes.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Right. So again, the charter has some 6 strategic commitments.
Yes.
And you being the expert in the drafting of this charter, please tell us what are these 6 commitments and how again do they mirror to these 3 R's? How do they relate?
Okay, the charter has the 6 strategic commitments, which I would synonymously refer to them as the strategic objectives in the conventional way. They can be referred as the strategic objectives. So the 6 strategic commitments, number 1 is independence and integrity. As you realize that under independence, we are saying as an office, we need to reassert our independence. And when you look at the aspect of integrity, is one of our core values for the office. So the staff in the ODP have no option other than to have integrity. So the second strategic commitment is lifelong learning, which is also anchored to the relearning, the relearning. Lifelong learning, where we are saying that the 21st century prosecutor must be continuously be abreast with the current technology skills to be able to handle what is happening in the criminal justice system. That's a lifelong learning. Then the other strategic commitment is organizational effectiveness. We realize that as an office, for us to be able to deliver our mandate, that's the quality prosecution services, we must be effective in the way the processes are run in as the office. For example, I've talked about the aspect of technology. So we need to embrace technology more and more, have changes in the process. For example, the WordLeaf case management system, it came as a result of that aspect of organizational effectiveness. Now, the 4th strategic commitment is what we call reshaping prosecution. That is, we need to modernize our prosecution services. We need to modernize the way we do things in terms of prosecution. The aspects such as decision to charge, they are coming as part of that particular strategic commitment of reshaping our prosecution.
Just hold a minute. So does reshaping also sort of adopt the alternative justice? What do you call them? This one, like the alternative justice.
Or
the plea bargaining.
Yes.
Alternative
justice. What do you call it?
System. Plea bargaining.
AJS, but I'm trying to bring it out clearly, like what AJS is. But does AJS now play right into reshaping prosecution services?
Yes, it does. Because when you're talking about like the the plea bargain,
Yes.
It removes us from the the usual way we deal with the sentencing of or dealing with
moves
the
you from
yes,
retribution to
Yes,
restoration.
exactly.
yes, yes.
That's what now you're pursuing under
Yes,
rehabilitation.
under
Yes,
reshaping prosecution.
yes,
Yeah.
because we can gain, for instance, if you have an offender who can be able to commit themselves and say, yes, I've committed this offense, I want to return this money to the state. I think that is a way of reshaping.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
there's the diversion, all this.
Also decongesting the system.
Yes.
So it's quite a big deal.
Yes,
now,
it is.
because I'm trying to get this from the Mwananchi's perspective. Why should they care that you launch the Excellence Charter? So when you break down reshaping, and now I hear AJS is under reshaping, then I know definitely the burden on the justice system is lessened, and of course tax as a taxpayer, it's also looked at into this space. So it's quite important to break this down to the people watching. So you are on.
Okay,
reshaping.
yes. The fifth strategic commitment is about leadership. We realize that leadership as an office is very key, and we have adopted what we call a servant leadership philosophy, whereby we have initiatives such as mentoring the young prosecutors. So that's another commitment, and the final commitment is about interagency networks. That is where the aspect of the 3 C's comes in under the recasting. Recasting comes in under the interagency networks, where we are saying that as an office, we need to collaborate more and more with our external stakeholders, particularly on the issue of funding, issue of capacity building, because whereas the money that we receive from the exchequer, that's the National Treasury, is hardly enough to realize all the activities. So we need these development partners. That's why we have interagency networks, and we have put in place measures to ensure this. We have come up with the strategies, donor coordination strategies, and mapping.
Okay.
Thank you.
There's something you mentioned about reasserting the independence of this office.
Yes.
And maybe Madam Nyamosi may explain to us a bit. Independence sometimes means just abandon, it means being reckless. But there's independence with some structure. How does the independence of the ODPP work? So that people understand being independent doesn't mean you are not accountable, you are going to be reckless. How do you define the independence of the ODPP?
Independence, we must be very clear. Independence means that when we make our decisions, it's the decision of the office because of the mandate we have been given under the Article 157 of the Constitution. But that doesn't mean that in this independence we are not accountable. We are accountable. We do make our reports to the President, His Excellency, because we must say this is how we do our things, and we are guided by the Article 6 of the Constitution. We just don't do our things arbitrarily.
Yeah.
So we must follow the due process or due diligence when we are making our decisions, for instance, the decision to charge. So that independence cannot be abused. It comes with responsibilities. Hence the reason why we have to report. Yes.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Because sometimes people hear about independence, some of these ones, nobody's checking them. They are free to operate the way they want, and that means then they can be played around, they can be puppeted by the powers that be to do whatever they want. So it's very important to actually start independence and now reassert your independence.
Yes.
And it should give the Mwananchi confidence that you are able to operate in their interests because you're independent, and that's very important.
Yes.
So then I want to ask, as you're talking about accountability, one of the reasons why this charter is very interesting is because you say it is going to be responsive to me, the Mwananchi.
Yes.
What does that mean? Responsive in what sense? Haven't you been responsive?
We have been responsive, but remember we have now in place the Wadilifu system. This gives room for also complaints to come. We have been receiving complaints, but I think this system will have a situation where we will be able to receive complaints and respond to them spontaneously. And remember that we are also, we have to understand that this is not the prosecutor who could hear about something and not know how to respond. We would know how to respond because we continuously are reminded that we are serving Mwananchi. And this is something which is on point. There is even a department specifically that deals with complaints. So that tells you that We are responding to mwananchi. And remember that also when you educate a prosecutor, continue reminding them, mentor them all the time, so that they remember that they are not, when even a case is taken to court, we are talking of the Republic versus. This is not your case, this is not Jacinta's case. I am representing Wanjiko. So my complainant, the complainant who has brought a case, that is the person I am representing. So for me, we are speaking to the all the systems that are in place, and Dr. Otinga has referred to them. All these systems are to be able to talk to mwananchi, listen to mwananchi, and feel for mwananchi. Even when we are dealing with the plea bargains, the diversion, we are not shunning them. We are talking to them. We want to hear, and we are also advising them, telling them, this is the reason why we think we should go this way. Maybe you will be compensated this way. So somebody doesn't have to go to prison for you to feel that you have been, you have done your work. Yeah. So these are the ways.
Maybe just to add on the aspect of being responsive to the needs of mwananchi, as an office, we are already decentralizing our services to we are in all the court stations. And that's one way of ensuring what you call access to justice by all. And that's one way of being responsive to the needs of mwananchi. And then as my senior, Madam Jacinta, has said, we are also we have a system where the complaints and complement system, we have an electronic performance management system where members of the public can log in any complaint they have, there's a system we have already developed and is yet to roll out.
Okay,
yes, yes. All right.
That's important to know. Okay. So this chapter mentions the linkage between the ODPP and the National Development Agenda.
Yes.
So what role does the chapter play in this whole thing? And just give us the linkage.
Okay, when you talk about the National Development Agenda, the first thing that comes into mind is the Kenya Vision 2030. And we have the Big Four agenda of the government. So particularly the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution is anchored in the Kenya Vision 2030 under the political pillar. Of course, we have the three pillars: political, economic, and social. So of course, we have a role in the economic pillar, in the social pillar, but our main focus, our main anchor is in the political pillar of the Kenya Vision 2030. So the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution has to uphold the rule of law. In upholding the rule of law, we are ensuring that we are having what we call investor confidence in the country. And when there is investor confidence, an investor is sure that whenever there is an issue maybe of fraud, his or her case will be expeditiously be handled with the independence and all that. And that will lead to what you call economic growth and development of a country. So we cut across all the three pillars of the Kenya Vision 2030. Thank you.
That's quite interesting. So I think we spoke a little about interagency collaboration, Madam, in the realization of the commitments of the charter. How important is this? Because I saw a tweet with one of the government agencies once. They put up a tweet and the reference, people are saying that agency has been bought off by these partners. So when we see partners milling around you, as mwananchi, we're thinking, there's no independence here. They're going to play to the whims of those people. But then what is important for this discussion is, how does interagency collaboration work? I mean, how do you work with them? Who do you work with, for example?
When we're talking about, first and foremost, that again goes back to independence. Yes. That independence cannot be abused at all. We know what our mandate is and our parameters, isn't it? So we do have our stakeholders who include the actors in the criminal justice system. Yeah. So we are working with them. We do work, I can just name them. Obviously, we work with the police, we work with the judiciary. We do not get into their mandate to the extent that they don't do their work. And they also don't get into our parameter into the extent that they will interfere with our mandate, the DPP's mandate under Article 157. So there is, we know, we work together, but we know what our extent, what our roles are independently. So you cannot say that these partners, for instance, our partners, our development partners would want to get into or control us. They don't do that. There is also a strategy to ensure that they will assist us. They will come and aid with how we work as an office, but they never control how we work as an office. They don't interfere into our mandate. So for our operations completely, their work is to just kind of collaborate. They are collaborating. They are not interfering. Yes.
Okay. So maybe, Madam, we're just winding up because it's meant to be a brief chat.
Yes.
who is a 21st century prosecutor? What is expected of them post the launch of the Excellence Chart?
Bila pressure. A 21st century prosecutor must be ready to embrace change. Don't shy away from change, whether it's technology. The office of the DPP is ready to take us back to the drawing board and tell us this is what you need to know. And we also have to look at other prosecutorial bodies around the world. What are they doing? We need to look and see what they're doing. So we don't keep on going back. We are not going to be archaic anymore. We are moving forward. That's why we are talking of the excellence. Now you can see how the word excellence is coming into play. And also we have to keep on learning. And this learning sometimes not necessarily through the PTI itself, but even us, we should personally take advantage of the fact that we have been given the opportunity. We have libraries, and by the way, we have researchers who do the research for us. So how are we not going to be a 21st century prosecution service with the kind of tools which have been placed on our table? It's us to commit ourselves. And mentorship, we have to keep on telling our younger prosecutors or our younger members of staff, don't sleep. We are not here. We are moving ahead. And I think now the word excellence now makes more, it makes more sense to me personally. As I told you, we keep on seeing something every yes. So for me, that is it. Yeah, so, maybe.
Dr. Chinga, not even about the 21st century prosecutor, but what kind of future did you envision for ODPP post this launch?
Okay, post this launch, the future that we are seeing at the ODPP, it will be a vibrant organization, an organization where all staff they feel part and parcel of the organization, an organization that can address all the needs of the Mwananchi, an organization that is near excellence. Yes.
And you know, when people say the needs of the Mwananchi, it's so cliche.
Yes.
I keep asking, how? What need? How is going to address this differently? But I guess you've addressed the responsiveness of the ODPP going back to the Mwananchi. There are all those things that have been put in place. So I'm going to ask you a question. Today we have a question. We have a staff student again, like last time. It's called Luke Guide. It says, have you logged that charter in the Play Store for public address? Is it a public document?
I would say it is a public document. We'll be able to share it on our websites and all of it's a public document.
So it is in the website, Luke, so you can just log on and find it.
Yes.
And then still ask it again, is there a plan to put an ODPP guideline book in Play Store so that people can access it and know how you conduct your prosecution? Huyu ni mtu anatu challenge who embrace technology. Because we're talking about change. It's the only constant. So maybe the challenge and maybe the discussion is to be had in a different platform is that there are Play Stores. Now you can drop in your that's going to be had differently by the technology experts.
It's actually interesting that now you can see we are getting a feedback from members of the public, and that's something which we are going to now sit back and say, oh, this is something very nice. And yes, our IT team is also very vibrant, you have to know, and I'm sure they're listening. I can assure you they're listening, and there's something they'll be working on right now. Yes.
Okay, so again, the question here is, and maybe you just need to know how to answer this. In your excellence charter, is there any procedure that a person who was accused falsely, taken to court and discharged due to no evidence can follow and charge the complainant and be compensated, assuming that that person is poor, cannot be able to hire a lawyer? I don't know the connection to the excellence charter, but maybe, Madam.
You know, partially because our office cannot share away that we also, we are supposed to advise our members or persons who have made complaints to our office. It is true that there are mechanisms and the courts, we have the judicial review process. And if a person feels that they were wrongly accused or even went through the process, the court process, they can sue the state. And I don't want to tell people to sue the state. I don't want to be in that platform of telling the people to sue the state, because sometimes somebody may lose a case not because they didn't commit the offense, just that maybe something missed in the, and you see, we are not the ones who make the decision to convict and sentence. So to a certain extent, there are channels, and we can offer some advice, but not that we will represent somebody who have been.
But remember, the DPP safeguards the public interest.
Exactly.
So there is a platform.
Yeah. There is a platform,
Yes.
definitely. Yes. Okay, there's another challenge here that you must teach people online on how to file cases. That's interesting. Well, it can be looked at not on this platform, but a different platform.
Right.
Something else I needed to ask as we conclude is, have there been any milestones since this charter was drafted?
Yes.
At least not for the launch, because the launch is just the other day. But since you drafted this charter, before even launch, have there been any milestones?
Okay. Remember, the charter is a 3-year document, 2020 to 2023. That's a financial year. So the implementation of this charter started in the month of July 2020. So we have been implementing this charter even as we launched. So there are quite a number of milestones that we have been able to realize. Number one, the Prosecution Training Institute. Yes. It is a baby of the Excellence Charter. It's already up and running. Then we have the aspects of the decision to charge guidelines. All of those things are already running. Then we have what you call independent units, inspectorate units, monitoring and evaluation units, all of these, and there are a number of policy and guidelines that are already in place, including the standard operating procedures. So there are a number of milestones that have been realized so far. Yes.
In the charter, have you seen any milestones? I mean, even before launch?
Actually, we've been implementing the Excellence Charter. I think Dr. Ting has spoken to most of the, even the fact that we are sitting in this independent office. This was a big achievement. The PTI itself, that is our institute, so that is we have achieved the policy documents, and even when you look at some of the activities we are carrying out, review of documents which need reviewing, like the human resource, all these are things which we are already they are milestones. And there are things there are committees which have been set in place to set the ball rolling, and there are so many achievements, and yes, there are many.
And perhaps the issue of the community dialogues that we have already embraced.
Of course, are affected by COVID.
Yes, but they are already
community dialogue.
Yes.
Embracing change and things virtually now.
Yeah.
But I hope when Corona lifts, if we are out of the woods, then we can definitely
be down and
continue.
Yes.
Community dialogue. Thank you, Monica Mbulu, for following. Thank you, Luke, for being again the staff student. I mean, when you say staff student, he's the one who's been engaging us all the time.
Okay.
But not to say this conversation is over. We are saying you can still ask questions online. We can get you some responses. There are experts waiting to respond to you. This charter was launched to give the prosecutors, who are the gatekeepers of the justice system, right? So gatekeepers.
Yes.
It's meant to empower them to service the public better, because they are the ones who represent us, the public, in the criminal justice system. I want to come to an end to the show. And I want to thank you very much for coming again, Madam Jacinta. I hope you enjoyed it. It was not very difficult because you knew what you had to say.
Yes.
I will continue the discussion, like I'm saying, and maybe even call you again to discuss this. But in the interest of time, allow me to end the show. And I wish you a very nice week ahead as you embark on your journey of excellence.
Oh.
Does it apply to everyone?
Yes.
Not just prosecutors?
Not just prosecutors.
Even you and lawyers?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much for joining us today. Thank you for being with us during this show. We have come to an end of the show, but we'll definitely continue engaging with you on Twitter and on Facebook. And of course, there's also an opportunity to engage with the ODPP directly through their email address and the telephone numbers. Check the website out for those contacts if you need them directly. But they are on standby to definitely service you, because they are there for you. I wish you a very good week ahead, and of course, a restful weekend. God bless and thank you.
Every journey begins with a single step. And every single step is driven by courage. Courage is what keeps us going despite the many uncertainties.
Is Peter Tomachi.
Wanyama 3-0 vodi Kenya.
Fabulous run up, very, very fast arm from Diego. Oh, that looks big, it looks huge. Diego has gone out way, way beyond 90 metres.
140, the unofficial time.
There's his wife.
Eliud Kipchoge storms.
But even with courage, you need strategy. That's why at the ODPP we are launching the Excellence Charter, our strategic commitment 2020-2023.
It is basically a document that is going to provide a roadmap for the office for the next 3 years. That is the period 2020-2023.
In the charter, we have outlined 3 strategic objectives under the 3 R's principles. We have the recasting, we have retooling, and we have relearning.
Recasting is about the relationship between the office and the internal and external stakeholders. The charter redefines how the office going forward is going to collaborate and coordinate with the stakeholders to a more efficient and effective prosecution service. Retooling, the second R, is about strengthening the existing infrastructure within the office. What are the systems we have? What are the processes that the office currently have? And how can we strengthen this also to achieve the ODPP mandate, which is quality prosecution services? Relearning is about equipping the staff with the requisite skills that they need, because the law is a changing phenomena, and for you to deliver effective prosecution, you need your staff to have the requisite knowledge and skills.
In 2019, the strategic plan 2016-2021 was due for review, and this coincided with the appointment of the current Director of Public Prosecution, Mr. Nordin Haji, who has a new vision for the office. So that is what led to the culmination of the development of the Excellence Charter to capture the aspirations of the DPP, and particularly his 6 strategic commitments. When you talk about the strategic commitments, it's synonymous to the traditional, what we normally call the strategic objectives. The activities have been organized in terms of immediate activities, mid-term activities, and long-term activities. So when you talk about immediate activities that can be undertaken within the first 3 months, and then we have the activities that can be taken for the first 1 year, 2nd year, and 3rd year. And in the implementation matrix, still it has what you call the person responsible, the actor, and also the budget.
This is what owns us. This is what is driving us as an institution. This is what we are committing ourselves to do, and inviting the public to hold us accountable to it.
And therefore, we make sure that whatever we do it to the highest standard, and we undertake the mandate that has been given to us as an agent of the executive to deliver to the people quality prosecutions.
Constitutionally, we want to safeguard Kenyans against any abuses, and that the guideline will allow any Kenyan to review any decisions that we make. So we've put a raft of measures to ensure that moving forward, the criminal justice system is not only accessible, but is also friendly to Kenyans, as it should be.
Tunaahidi mashtaka yenye